Ladies, let me tell you something right now. If you want a man to really be into you, I'm talking head over heels, can't stop thinking about you, obsessed, then you got to stop playing small. You got to make bold moves. See, men don't chase women who blend in, they chase women who stand out. Let me tell you something, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is more attractive to a man than a woman who respects herself. See, when a woman has self-respect, it shows up before she even says a word. It's in how she walks, how she talks, how she carries herself, and what she allows in her life. You don't have to announce it. You don't need a t-shirt that says, "I'm high value." Nah. It's in your energy. It's in your eyes. It's in your silence when you choose not to entertain foolishness. You ever see a woman walk away from a situation that didn't serve her? That's power. That's boldness. That's self-respect. And a real man, he feels that in his spirit. He might not even know why. He can't stop thinking about her. But deep down, he knows. She ain't like the rest. She ain't desperate. She's got standards. She respects herself. And that means she ain't going to tolerate just anything from anybody. Now let me break this down a little further. Self-respect is not about being mean, cold, or playing hard to get. It's not about acting like you don't need anybody. That's ego. That's fear in disguise. I'm talking about the kind of self-respect that says, I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to walk alone if I have to. That's powerful. Because when a woman can be alone without being lonely, that's the moment she becomes a force. Let me give you a real life example. You ever see a woman at a dinner table, phone down, posture straight, smiling, enjoying her own company? Man, let me tell you, that's intimidating to a lot of men. Not because she's rude or unapproachable, but because she's complete. She ain't waiting for somebody to validate her. She's not looking for a man to make her happy. She is happy. And that right there drives a man wild, because now he has to figure out how to be a part of that happiness, not the whole source of it. That's the difference. See, when you don't respect yourself, you accept things that aren't worthy of you. You answer late-night texts that only lead to confusion. You tolerate mixed signals, excuses, and bare minimum effort. You try to prove your worth to someone who ain't even proven theirs to you. But when you respect yourself, you shut all that noise down. You say, if you're not clear about me, then I'm crystal clear. That kind of clarity comes from self-love. That kind of decision-making comes from knowing you're the prize, whether someone recognizes it or not. And let's talk about boundaries for a second. Boundaries ain't about being controlling. They're about protecting your peace. You have every right to say, that doesn't work for me. You have every right to walk away when the energy is off. You don't owe anybody your time just because they're interested. No, ma'am. Let them earn it. Let them qualify for your presence. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. A man is wired to pursue. He's designed to go after what challenges him, what excites him, what makes him better. So when a woman shows that she respects herself so deeply that she won't just hand over her time, her attention, or her heart to just anybody, he pays attention. That's when the obsession begins. That's when he starts wondering what's different about her. That's when he starts adjusting himself to meet your standards instead of dragging you down to meet his comfort zone. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, but Steve, if I raise my standards, don't I lose people? Yes, baby, yes, you will. And thank God you will. Because those people were only holding a seat that was meant for someone who truly sees your worth. When you start respecting yourself, the wrong ones fall off and the right ones step up. Don't be afraid to lose people who were never meant to be there in the first place. Look, you don't have to yell, scream, or demand attention. When you respect yourself, you become the attention. You become unforgettable. It's not about being loud, it's about being clear. Clear about who you are, clear about what you want, clear about what you won't tolerate. And the more clear you are, the more you attract someone who's not confused. So if you want a man to be obsessed with you, really truly hooked on everything about you, start by treating yourself like the queen you are. Set the tone, set the standard, be the example of how you expect to be treated, and then watch how the game changes. Because let me tell you this, when you respect yourself, the right man will do everything he can to match that energy, every single time. Now, let me explain something a lot of people get twisted. There's a difference, a big difference, between being mysterious and being a mystery. Some women think the way to get a man hooked is to hide everything, never text back, keep him guessing all the time like he's in some emotional escape room. But baby, that ain't it. That's confusion, not mystery. And confusion doesn't make a man obsessed. It makes him tired. It makes him feel like he's trying to read a book with half the pages torn out. He might stick around for a while, but he'll eventually put it down and move on to something that makes sense. Being mysterious doesn't mean being unavailable. It means being unpredictable. There's a difference. See, a mysterious woman doesn't just hand over her whole story on a silver platter. She lets it unfold slowly, like a good movie. She doesn't need to prove herself in the first 5 minutes of knowing a man. She lets him discover her in layers, like unwrapping a gift over time. Every conversation, every moment together reveals something new. Just when he thinks he's figured her out, boom, there's another depth, another insight, another surprise. That's what keeps a man coming back. That's what keeps him up at night wondering, what's she gonna do next? What's she really about? Men are naturally curious. That's how we're wired. We want to explore, we want to solve things. So when a woman gives a little bit at a time, not too much, not too little, she keeps that curiosity alive. But when you tell him your whole life story in one dinner, when you lay out all your dreams, your fears, your exes, your trauma, and your social security number, you leave nothing to chase. You gave it all away before he even had a chance to earn it. And this right here is what you all need to understand. Mystery is power. It's silent power. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be flashy. You just need to be unpredictable enough to stay interesting. That doesn't mean you lie or play games. It means you don't rush. You're in control of how much you reveal and when. You're in control of what pieces of your heart someone gets to see. You don't just open the vault because someone knocked on the door. They got to bring the key. They got to show effort. They got to invest. Now, I'm not saying you should be cold or distant. That ain't mystery. That's insecurity dressed up as strategy. But what I'm saying is you got to master the art of presence with boundaries. You can be warm, you can laugh, you can connect, but you don't have to put all your business out there. You don't have to explain your every move. Let him wonder a little bit. Let him ask questions. Let him try to figure out what makes you tick. Because when he's curious, he's engaged. And when he's engaged, he gets invested. And when he's invested, that's when he starts falling hard. Let's talk about texting for a second. You don't have to respond in 5 seconds every time. You don't need to be glued to your phone just because he texted, hey. Let your response time reflect your real life. Let him see that you've got stuff going on. You're busy, you're living, you're not sitting around waiting for him to give your day meaning. That's attractive. That's powerful. When a man sees you have a full life, with or without him, he realizes he's not the center of your universe. He realizes he has to earn a place in your orbit. Here's the thing. The woman who leaves a little to the imagination is the one who stays on a man's mind. She's the one he thinks about on the drive home. She's the one he talks about to his boys, trying to figure out what she's thinking, how she feels. You want to be unforgettable? Stop giving the entire story in chapter 1. You want to be the one he obsesses over? Make him work to know you. Not because you're playing games, but because you know your value. See, when a man has to discover you, he becomes attached to the process. He starts putting in effort. And every time he learns something new about you, something smart, something funny, something deep, that connection deepens. He ain't just attracted to your body. He's attracted to your mind. He's hooked on the journey of understanding you. And listen, real mystery doesn't come from holding back out of fear. It comes from knowing you're enough as is. It's knowing that you don't have to overshare to connect. It's confidence. Quiet, steady, powerful confidence. The kind that makes a man say, I gotta know more. The kind that makes him come back again and again, looking for the next piece of the puzzle. You want a man obsessed with you? Be the woman he never quite figures out, but always wants to. Be real. Be open, but never all at once. Let him explore, let him earn each chapter. That's how you become unforgettable. That's how you become the woman who stays on his mind long after the conversation ends. Let me tell you something most people overlook, especially when it comes to relationships. You want to know what really gets a man obsessed? What really makes him think about you day and night, wanting to be in your space, wanting to lock it down? It's not just your looks. It's not just how fine you are. That may catch his attention for a minute, but what keeps his attention, what makes him lean in and say, man, I can't let this woman go, is when you've got a life that's already full, already rich, already moving with purpose. That's the woman who changes the game. You know what's sexy? Drive. A woman with ambition. A woman with goals. A woman who wakes up every day with something to do, somewhere to be, and something she's building. A woman who's not waiting for a man to give her life meaning, but instead already has her own lane, her own mission, her own vision. That kind of woman is magnetic. And when a man sees that, he doesn't just admire it, he becomes inspired by it. When you've got your own purpose, you light up in a way that no man can take credit for. You got your own rhythm, your own fire, and your own thing going. That makes a man respect you on a whole different level. You ain't just there for decoration. You ain't just something to show off. You become a partner. You become a motivator. You become someone who challenges him to rise up and be better. You don't push him, you pull greatness out of him just by being who you are. Let's get something straight. Men pay attention to how you spend your time. If your whole life starts revolving around him the minute you meet him, he's going to feel that, and not in a good way. That kind of energy comes off as needy. It tells him you are just waiting on someone to fill a void. But when you've got a life, when you've got a schedule, when you've got plans, when you've got dreams, you make him want to be a part of that. You make him chase you not just because of who you are, but because of what you're doing with your life. Think about it. Have you ever seen a woman just glow when she talks about something she loves? Whether it's her business, her creative project, her studies, her nonprofit work, whatever it is, that energy is electric. It's contagious. A man sees that passion and it ignites something in him. It makes him say, damn, she's got something I want to be near. I want to support that. I want to be part of that world. And here's the part nobody tells you. Men love being with a woman who inspires them. We don't say it out loud because you know how we are. We act tough like we got it all figured out. But deep down, we crave that. We crave a woman who makes us see the world bigger. A woman who shows us what's possible. A woman who doesn't just take from the table but brings something to it. You don't need to have your life all figured out. You don't need to be a millionaire or some CEO, but you do need to be building something. You need to have something that's yours, something that lights you up when nobody's watching, because that's what makes you unstoppable. That's what makes you unforgettable. When a man sees you grinding, sees you winning, sees you trying, even when it's hard, that's when you get his full attention. Not because you're doing it for him, but because you're doing it for you. It also creates balance. When you have a full life, you're not sitting around wondering when he's going to text or call or show up. You're too busy for that. And that's not attitude, that's self-worth. That's self-focus. That's high-level energy. And a high-quality man, he loves that. He doesn't want someone just waiting around for his approval. He wants someone he can build with, someone who's already building, someone who inspires him to go harder. You've got to understand, when a man sees a woman who is dedicated to something, he doesn't want to interrupt that. He wants to add to it. He wants to match that energy. And if he's the right kind of man, he'll level up because of you. He'll start rethinking his own life. He'll start questioning his own goals. Not out of insecurity, but out of motivation. You become the mirror that shows him where he could go. And that is powerful. That is irresistible. So if you want a man to become obsessed with you, make sure you're not just waiting to be chosen. Be so focused on choosing yourself, on choosing your goals, your health, your growth, your mission, that he has to earn his way into your world. Let him watch you shine, and then let him decide if he's man enough to keep up. That's when obsession begins. Not when you chase him, but when you chase your purpose and let him chase you. Let me break something down real clear. Confidence is the game changer. It's not just the detail. It's not just an accessory. It's the whole outfit. When a woman walks into a room and she's fully confident in who she is, she doesn't have to say a word. Her presence speaks. Her vibe speaks. Her energy walks 10 steps ahead of her and lets everybody know, yeah, I belong here. Now, I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about somebody who thinks they're better than everybody else. That ain't confidence. That's insecurity trying to look big. I'm talking about that quiet, unshakable belief in yourself. The kind where you know your worth. You know what you bring to the table. You don't need to broadcast it, and you definitely don't need to beg anybody to see it, because whether they do or not, you know it's there. You carry it like it's stitched into your skin. Men feel that. Let me repeat, real men feel that. A confident woman is unforgettable, not just because she's beautiful, not just because she's got style, but because she makes you feel something. You walk away from a conversation with her and you're like, man, there's something about her. It ain't what she wore. It ain't her job title. It's her certainty. She's secure. She's solid. She ain't rattled by outside opinions. She don't crumble under pressure. That's confidence. And it's rare. And that's why it drives men wild. When you're confident, you don't perform. You're not acting. You're not trying to become what you think a man wants. You're just showing up as you, fully, authentically. And that's powerful, because most people out here are trying to wear masks. They're trying to impress, trying to be liked, trying to fit into some box that ain't even shaped like them. But a confident woman, she's not doing any of that. She's already chosen herself. She already likes herself. So when someone else comes along, it's not about getting their approval. It's about alignment. That's the difference. Let me tell you something. When you know your value, your standards naturally rise. You stop entertaining people who play games. You stop tolerating inconsistent effort. You stop giving energy to people who only show up when it's convenient. And that shift is when the right man starts to notice. Because now you're not available to everyone, you're selective. You know your time is valuable. You know your love is sacred. So you treat it like that. And guess what? The moment you do, people treat you how you treat yourself. Confidence also shows up in how you carry your flaws, because we all got them. Ain't nobody perfect. But a confident woman doesn't let her imperfections define her. She owns them. She might have a little extra weight. She might be working on her career. She might have a past that's a little messy. Whatever it is, she's still walking like, yeah, this is me. I'm still valuable. And that honesty, that self-acceptance, that's real, that's rare, that's attractive. You don't have to be the loudest in the room to be confident. Sometimes it's the quietest woman in the corner who's got the strongest spirit. It's the way she looks you in the eye when she talks. It's how she listens. It's how she moves like she doesn't need attention to feel seen. Men pick up on that. We're visual, sure, but we feel energy. And confident energy stands out without trying. You don't need to chase, compete, or compare when you walk in your own lane with your head held high. And let's be real, confidence can be uncomfortable. It means saying no when it's easier to say yes. It means walking away from situations that feel safe but don't serve you. It means choosing growth over validation. That takes guts. That takes belief. But every time you do it, you strengthen that confidence muscle. You prove to yourself that you can trust your own voice, your own path, and that self-trust, that's what glows. That's what makes people wonder, what's her secret? Confidence is also about knowing you're enough without someone else completing you. You're not out here looking for a savior. You're not looking for someone to rescue you from your life. You're inviting someone to share in it. That's a whole different posture. That's the kind of energy that makes a man step his game up, not because you told him to, but because your presence demands it, and he'll want to. Because being around a confident woman makes a man feel like he can be more too. So carry your story, walk in your truth, love yourself out loud. Because when you show up like you already belong, the world will start to treat you like you do. And the right man, he's not just going to be attracted to you. He's going to be obsessed, not with the image, not with the surface, but with the real you, the you who walks boldly, the you who knows she's the prize, the you who doesn't shrink, doesn't settle, and doesn't apologize for being powerful.